is our May all-day sitting at Open Sky. We're going to do a full moon ceremony as part of it. Please come. It'll be fun and enlightening. And what else are you going to do with your one and precious life? We'll all help each other wake up. We're focusing on Bodhisattvas. Last week we focused on Shakyamuni Buddha and Mahapajapati in the Nirmanakaya, the form realm, this realm. Now we're going to head into the traditional archetypes of the Bodhisattvas. Marilyn on Thursday is going to do Manjushri, which is where we normally start, but what's normal anyway? Manjushri is the Bodhisattva of wisdom, and Samantabhadra. They're often, if you went into I suppose a high temple, or where they have the money to have all kinds of statues and stuff, is on the altar. Buddha would be sitting in the middle, and then Manjushri and Samantabhadra are on either side. So wisdom and compassion. Manjushri is the embodiment of wisdom. Marilyn will talk about that. And Samantabhadra is enlightened practice or compassion. So Manjushri is in the realm of emptiness, the formless, and Samantabhadra is bringing the forward functioning in the world. Samantabhadra is, we spent some time in the last practice period studying part of the Avatamsaka Sutra, a very small part of it, although it probably felt like it was going on forever and ever. But the final chapter of it is all about the pilgrimage to find Samantabhadra. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And Samantabhadra is also in the Lotus Sutra, which we've also studied. If you happen to, like I do, enjoy these vast sutras that are imaginal and then that just blow your mind open, Samantabhadra is your person, and these bodhisattvas are amazing guides. And it's really, really important to know that fundamentally this practice is just show up. Just be here. Take care of your life. Take care of who's in front of you. Take care of the world. And maybe these archetypes will help a little bit for us to not take ourselves too seriously and to remember that in the midst of this is just a vast play of atoms and light and energy. And these archetypes are here to encourage us to be. Samantabhadra is known as universal virtue or universal goodness. So Samantabhadra is here to teach us and remind us about goodness. Can't be so bad, right? Samantabhadra also, I might have a sense of the Avatamsaka Sutra, if you remember, it is all about, teaches about interconnectedness and the interconnectedness of all beings. And once you enter into that realm, the visions that can express it. So here we go. One of the things I didn't tell you, because I wanted us to just sit poised and upright and walk like an elephant, and is that if you Google, you will find many images of Samantabhadra that the elephant is just grinning. It's comical. So what in the world is that about? This looks like a very calm, like Labrador elephant. But some of the elephants that Samantabhadra is riding, they're just wild and grinning. So what is it to ride or to walk like a grinning wild elephant? We could ask that too, huh? So in the Avatamsaka Sutra, the final chapter called Gandhavula, Entry into the Realm of Reality, after a long pilgrimage, Sudana, who just wants to understand and wake up, comes to meet Samantabhadra, finally ready. And this is what it required to be able to meet Samantabhadra. He develops a mind as vast as space and free from all attachments, and is immersed in the ocean of all enlightened teachings. That's when we can finally really meet Samantabhadra. And meeting Samantabhadra, sitting on a jeweled lotus flower, from every pore of Samantabhadra's body, clouds of light beams are emanating. Let your imaginations go. That relieve the suffering of beings and increase the joy of bodhisattvas everywhere. So this is a light being. And then Sudana, us, we are able to see or to imagine that in every pore and from every part of Samantabhadra's body, all the beings and entities of this world and of all worlds throughout every direction in vast space, past, present, and future, are all illumined. Did you have a moment, maybe in Zazen, where mostly you're sitting in the midst of a mind going blah, blah, blah? I mean, I don't know about you, but it's got thoughts and hopes and fears. And then maybe there's just one moment where it just opens and everything gets still. And it's also completely dynamic and alive. You have a sense of what I'm talking about, right? Yes. I mean, you can't grasp it, and it's like that. But we do know that in these gaps in between, when it opens, the world is vast. It's not anything like what we think it is. And then we just go back to, well, it flashes. What am I going to have for dinner? What did that person do to me? Oh my goodness. Or, I mean, past, present, and future, that's the realms we dwell in. And that's where we need to be grounded and waking up and aware. And this world is also so much more than we can even imagine. So it reassures us that given this world that Samantabhadra embodies, Samantabhadra is not so easy to see. It takes great concentration and practice and diligence. So Samantabhadra is saying, come on, you can do it. Just be here. Samantabhadra is shining practice illumination of this world so that we more and more compassion and the shining jewel net of Indra and everything interrelated becomes a spontaneous impulse of how to respond to ourselves and the world, right in the midst of, it's looking pretty bad, guys. Lots of things to worry about. And it's also completely illumined with light and Buddhas. So just show up. And Samantabhadra is particularly known for vows, or Thich Nhat Hanh calls them aspirations. We're going to put some up on the screen in a minute. and we have some in the room, but I'm going to go over them first. It's interesting. I'm going to just talk us through them, but it's interesting that to me anyway, that Thich Nhat Hanh, the aspirations, I think I read that they recite them every day. They recite Samantabhadra's. Erica's not nodding. They recite Samantabhadra's aspirations every day as part of their liturgy. So there's something here to pay attention to. So Samantabhadra has 10 vows that we can use to practice our own intention and aspiration. First one, first three, I'll just talk us through and then we'll come back to this, is venerating Buddhas, praising Buddhas, and making offerings to Buddhas. So it's a practice of devotion. It's a practice of humility and gratitude. Devotion to awakening and everybody who's awakened and brought this practice to us in this moment, and devotion towards all of creation, because all of creation is bringing us awakening in each moment. I mean, if we're really paying attention, right? That's 1 through 3. 4. Samantabhadra knows. I love this. Samantabhadra, I mean, it's a lot of these bodhisattvas they're adorned as princes and they have jewels and they're kind of regal. But what Samantabhadra knows is that you have to confess and know, you have to be aware of your past misdeeds. Not like, oh my God, I did something really awful, but just be aware of your karmic impulses. Throughout numerous past lives, even such a great bodhisattva has erred and contributed to causing suffering in various ways. Isn't that kind of a relief? That we're not particularly, maybe you've made a mistake or two, but that so is Samantabhadra. There's a lot of kindness and forgiveness in that. Samantabhadra has the humility to realize and acknowledge this. We can only awaken to our own clear, radiant nature by examining and acknowledging the obstructions and self-graspings of our conditioning that inhibit this deeper seeing and living. This is from Taigen Dan Layton. Same thing, we keep hearing it over and over again. Pay attention to your karmic impulses. Pay attention to your delusions, not as a problem, but use them to wake up with. The more we do that, the more we rejoice in the happiness of others and the happiness of wishing ourselves to be happy. Seeing others enjoy their lives and develop their capacity for bringing joy to others is what truly gives Samantabhadra his greatest pleasure. That's why he's writing this way with upright. He just wants everybody to be happy. It's like, oh, how can I be here and increase happiness? When a bodhisattva realizes that she is ultimately not separate from others, her sincerest wish is simply that all beings may be happy. Samantabhadra is here to help you and us be happy. 6 and 7, Samantabhadra's aspirations or vows. To request Buddhas everywhere, to teach and to not enter nirvana, to not like ascend into Buddhahood, but to just keep coming back, which is Samantabhadra is saying spiritual friends and spiritual relationships and Sangha are really important. Samantabhadra is pretty wise. Samantabhadra also vows to study the Dharma in order to find ways to study it and share it with others. Not just like I studied it and blah, 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 which maybe I'm doing a little bit of, but to embody it and to be it. Samantabhadra just wants to be an embodiment of shining practice. I have such strong memories of going in the kitchen at San Francisco Zen Center, and Blanche was the first abbess. She always had Samantabhadra in the kitchen when she was Tenzo. Samantabhadra was there helping her. And I have such strong memories of Steve Stuckey, who was the abbot of San Francisco Zen Center. I mean, I knew Steve was a farmer. We were down on the farm together, and then they kind of made him into an abbot, and that was nice too. But Steve was a worker, and his practice was his person was Samantabhadra. When he died, he wanted Samantabhadra right there by his body as we were all sitting with him. So it's funny the way different bodhisattvas kind of come forward to you and then they inspire you. And then you have the vow or the aspiration that you want to benefit all beings. And then the last one is, thought maybe this would be interesting because we do a dedication of merit. Do you know that when we do that at the end of when we chant, we dedicate the merit to, because it's like, what are we doing? If we're not really doing anything, what's this thing that we're passing on to somebody else? Or it's kind of a tricky koan. Have you ever wondered that? Anyway, maybe not. You just do it. So it's a technical meaning that's common to all bodhisattva practice. Developed bodhisattvas have the special power, to extend the merit accrued from their own insight and compassionate activities to other beings. So it's saying that together we have whatever we're doing here. When we say that, when we chant, when we meet with deep intention, we accrue this power that we can send it out to the whole world. So we're not just doing it for ourselves. And more generally, Samantabhadra vows not to practice merely in order to acquire personal well-being or benefits, but to pass it on. That's what we're doing all the time. Okay. So in a minute, we're going to do the aspirations, but I thought I would read you. One of the qualities of Samantabhadra is hidden. Samantabhadra shows up in lots of different forms. So if you go around looking for Samantabhadra to look like this, you're gonna miss it. So here's a great story from Rafe Martin from A Zen Life of Bodhisattvas to give us some clues. You ready? About 300 years ago, in Japan, there lived a Buddhist priest named Shoku Shonin. For many years, he had been a devotee of the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, or Fugen, I think the Japanese name, the Bodhisattva of compassionate action. Day and night, Shoku Shonin focused his mind on the Bodhisattva. Day and night, he recited verses from the sutras that promised Fugen's protection. Shoku Shonin had only one wish: to see Fugen, to see Samantabhadra. One day, as Shogun walked through the streets of a local village, he overheard two merchants talking about a woman who lived in the town of Kanzaki, several days' walk away. This beautiful woman, they said, attracted large crowds each evening by dancing while dressed as the Bodhisattva Fugen, dressed up as Samantabhadra. Shoku was shocked and outraged. That night he had a dream. In the dream, a voice spoke to him and said, "Go to Kanzaki and watch her dance." "Foolishness," he proclaimed upon awakening. "Devil's promptings will never move me," and he did not go. The next night, the same dream with its dream voice came again. "Go to Kanzaki and watch her dance." "Never," said Shoku. The third night, the dream came again. "Watch her Dance, insisted the voice. And that morning, when Shoku awoke, he said to himself, perhaps I am called to end this sacrilege. Uh-oh. He tied on his straw sandals, set the wide, deep bowl of his monk's traveling hat upon his head, and ringed staff in hand, and set off for Kanzaki. After several days of brisk walking, he entered the town. It was early evening, the sky beginning to darken, a few stars faintly glittering overhead, but a crowd had gathered and torches were lit. Then, as the sky grew dark, as if by magic, the woman appeared on a small stage in the courtyard. Breathtakingly beautiful, she was dressed in the flowing Indian-style robes and necklaces that in paintings and sculptures adorn the Bodhisattvas Samantabhadra. Keeping time with a small hand drum, she began to dance. Her jewels sparkled in the torchlight, and all the men, except for the priest Shoku Shonin, entered into a trance of delight. Shoku Shonin's rage grew. It was blasphemy. Yet gradually an inexplicable change overtook him. He grew calm, and a deep peace spread through his limbs, rising from the soles of his feet up through the crown of his head. The night sky shimmered, and the ground seemed to drop away beneath his feet. What did he care? The dance. The dance. Such joy radiated through the universe from this woman's dance. The stars were dancing, the earth was dancing. His eyes seemed to penetrate the darkness, and it seemed as if out in the night, the trees and the animals in their holes and the people of the town were all breathing and all moving in time with, were all a part of this wonderful dance. Even the beating of his own heart, the rush of air in and out of his lungs, the ticking of his pulse were part of the miracle of this perfect dance. A slender ray of golden light shot from between the perfect arched brows of the dancing woman. Dazzled, Shoku Shonin closed his eyes, and when he opened them, there before him on the little platform in the courtyard, he saw not the woman, but the radiant figure of the Bodhisattva Fugen Samantabhadra, seated on a great six-tusked white elephant, golden beams of light shooting all around. Reality is not what you think. Tears of joy trickled down his face. His lifelong dream had been fulfilled. How long he stood there gazing, drinking in the scene before him, he never knew. And when he came to himself at last, the stage was bare, the torches had burned low, the last of the men were leaving, coins and favors littered the dancing platform. And Shokaku turned away and stumbled along the street. As he left the village, he heard a faint tinkling as if silver bells. There before him stood the dancer in the robes of Fugen. Tell no one, she said, of what you alone have seen this night. Go in peace, old friend. And she was gone. A faint scent like heavenly incense lingered on the night air. Then it too was gone and blown away on the wind. Dazed, Shoku started walking again. Several days later, he discovered that he had arrived back at his own temple. Of his long walk home, he remembered nothing. Shoku told no one of his strange experience. But at last, years later, near death, he related the whole incident to a brother monk. His final words were, "Free for compassion's sake to take endless forms throughout the limitless universe, they do not despise the lowly and ignoble." And putting his palms together, he peacefully died. Free for compassion's sake to take endless forms throughout the limitless universe, they do not despise the lowly and the ignoble. Don't think you know what's in front of you, or inside of you, or behind you. Maybe Samantabhadra will help us look more deeply. So why don't we look at the 10 great aspirations of Samantabhadra? Is there an extra one that I can have? I brought one.
And one for ladies.
And we're going to put one on the screen or in chat. Yeah, great. Thank you. So I'm going to suggest that we read this together, chant this together. And maybe as we're reading, pay attention to maybe one of the 10 great aspirations in particular pop out at you. We'll see what happens. Okay? The 10 great aspirations of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Body, speech, and mind purified in oneness. I vow deeply to touch limitless Buddhas of the past, present, and future throughout all worlds in the 10 directions. The power of Samantabhadra's vow enables me to be present everywhere. Where there is a Buddha, I am there. As Buddhas are countless, so too am I. A particle of dust are countless Buddhas, all of them present with their own assembly. The strength of my faith penetrates deeply into every atom of all Dharma realms. I aspire to use the great ocean of sound, giving rise to words of wonderful effect. The praise of Buddha's oceans of virtues in the past, present, and future. I will bring these offerings, garlands of the most beautiful flowers, incense, music, perfumes, and parasols, all to adorn the Tathagatas and their lands. Bringing food, robes, and fragrant flowers, torches, sandalwood, spitting mats, the finest adornments here in abundance, an offering to the Tathagatas. Inspired by Samantabhadra's vow, I bring my heart wide with deep understanding, with loving faith in the Buddhas of the 3 times, as an offering to the Tathagatas everywhere. From beginningless time, I have acted unskillfully with craving, hatred, and ignorance in actions of body, speech, and mind. Determined now to begin anew, I repent. I rejoice in every virtuous action by anyone in any direction, by learners and by those who need learn no more, of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all beings who are lamps for the world, and those who have just attained enlightenment. I beg that you will think lovingly of us, turning the wheel of the Dharma to help the world. With sincerity, I make a humble request of the Buddhas, those who are about to enter Nirvana. Remain forever in the world for the benefit and welfare of all. I humbly make offerings inviting all Buddhas to stay with us and guide all beings to the other shore, all the merit of joyous praise and repenting, I offer to the halfway awakening. This merit is transferred to the three jewels, to their nature and form in the Dharma realms. The two truths are perfectly woven together into the Samadhi seal. The ocean of merit is measureless. I vow to transfer it and to not hold anything for myself. If any human, out of discrimination and prejudice, tries to do harm to the path of liberation, may their obstacles be fully removed. In each moment, when wisdom envelops the Dharma realms, welcoming all to the place of non-regression, space and living beings are without limit. The same with afflictions and results of past actions. These four are fully and truly immeasurable. So too is my offering of merit. So let me show you Mayumi Oda, who took these figures and brought them to life in this time. Here's yeah, so we've got it up on the screen.
Oh.
And here it is. Here's Samantabhadra.
Oh.
So Samantabhadra is known as universal virtue, universal goodness, or shining practice, Bodhisattva. Let's just go into small groups. Let's have about 10 minutes to just talk together. What's Samantabhadra teaching you? Make it up. See what comes forward. And then we'll come back and we'll see what does this have to do with our lives in this very moment. Okay? So just turn to people.